James Harden is traded to the Clippers. Steph Curry starts the season on a heater. And should Laker fans be worried about their backcourt? All that and more next on The Dime.
You are now listening to The Dime with Josh and Kwab, your go-to NBA podcast. Subscribe on Apple, follow on Spotify, and be sure to hit up the YouTube channel for video content. And now your hosts, Josh and Kwab.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to The Dime. We are through with weeks 1 and almost week 2 of NBA basketball. The season is underway. This episode, we're going to hit on headlines and determine whether or not they are fake news, like are the Lakers regretting extending Austin Reaves, and are the Denver Nuggets far and away the best team in the league? But let's get started with the big news of the week, and that's James Harden traded to the Los Angeles Clippers. Kwab, I'm going to read you the exact deal. The Clippers get James Harden and PJ Tucker. The Sixers get Robert Covington, Nicholas Batum, Marcus Morris, KJ Martin, a 2020 unprotected first, 2 second-round picks, a pick swap, and an additional first-round pick from a third team, that team to be named later. I also think the Clippers got someone else, but someone who I never heard of, so I didn't.
Philip Petrusev.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I didn't know who that is.
Of course you know who that is.
Yeah, because
why?
I was going to say because he went to Montverde, so that's the reason.
Oh, that's dope.
He went to Montverde back in the day. So
okay, all right. Well, there you go. That is the deal. Landing James Harden in Los Angeles. I guess the Clippers are going all in, getting the point guard that they've needed for years. I did a reaction video saying how I did not like the trade for the Clippers. In retrospect, I still feel the same way. Looking back on the reaction video I did not change my mind.
Looking back on the video I made, I was right.
I was right. But just to reiterate my point, I think this team has already had an identity crisis for the past few years. Now you add James Harden, you're going to have more of an identity crisis. When I think early on, it's been 3 games, now 4 games. They beat the Magic earlier today. They beat the crap out of the Magic. But now you seem to have kind of figured it out a little bit. Everybody's healthy. I think the vibes were good. Russell Westbrook was your starting point guard and actually fits in pretty nicely. Now you bring in James Harden and all the roles are up in the air again. Like, who's going to handle the rock? What happens at Russell Westbrook? What are Paul George and Kawhi going to do off ball? Too many question marks, too many variables that I do not like. Roles have to be changed. And on top of that, you bring in somebody who quit on the Rockets, who quit on the Nets, who quit on the Sixers. So locker room wise, I don't really feel this. I think you're taking a big chance right here if you're the Clippers when I don't think you needed to right now. I don't think you needed to in game 3 of the NBA season. So for me, it's a stinker. I don't like it, but our listeners have not heard from you. So what do you think?
Do you think that it was smarter for them to do it now than later? Because
I don't think they gave up much, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, because the whole thing was like, is Terrence Mann going to be involved? Is Norman Powell going to be involved? And they kept both of them. I mean, if you get rid of them now or then later, what's the difference in my mind? You know what I mean? You give away Robert Covington, who barely played for you, Batum, who barely played for you, Marcus Morris, who didn't play for you, and KJ Martin, who didn't play for you. So you're giving up basically future assets. You're going all in and giving up future assets for James Harden, and you're giving away rotational pieces that might be for the Sixers, but for you, it was only really Batum and maybe a little bit Covington, barely even Covington. So to answer your question, I don't think it really matters.
Okay. I think because I was thinking that from the Clippers perspective, it felt like they had to do it. It was better for them to do it now than later, just because, like the points you made, please. And if you guys haven't seen the early reaction video Josh did, please go watch it. He made a lot of great points.
Thank you.
Of course, man. Come on. He made a lot of great points. Having James Harden is a big piece to integrate onto a team that you said like they don't trying to figure out their identity.
Yeah.
You bringing him in now makes it easier than, let's say, if you waited till before the trade deadline.
That's a solid.
You know what I mean? As he is the only, like, the Clippers were the only team he wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And they were the only team that were willing to trade for him because his trade value was basically non-existent at this point. So so the timing of it, well, real quick, the timing of it, why do the Clippers like to make these trades in the late of night, like it's 4 a.m.
and at like 2 o'clock Eastern time too when he got traded.
Remember when the PG trade happened? We all woke up and like, wait, what happened? Like they like to wait till and Woj just tweeted it out like, "Hey, Harden got traded," and it looked like he put his phone back down. Like there was
Right.
no mention of anything, and it was
Right.
like hilarious for a while. But with a trade like this, you see the names and you look at the positive potential of what it could be.
Bro, 5 years ago, this was a blockbuster.
Of course, you're like, "Oh my god, this is crazy."
Yeah.
Now there's a lot more question marks. So I'll say the one positive outlook I have on it when I saw was that because the Clippers have been so injury prone, having another player, another quote unquote star available in case, knock on wood, God forbid, PG goes down or Kawhi goes down, you still have another option that could possibly help you in the playoffs. That's the one way to look at it. It was inevitable that this trade was going to happen. It's just
Harden was going somewhere, and it was going to be the Clippers because the Clippers were the only team that really wanted him. Let's be honest.
Wanted him. Yeah. It was just so inevitable. Like from we talked about when we did the Sixers preview. Like him going and going when he was in China saying it twice. Like Darren Morey's a liar. I never want to play here. Crazy. And then the little rumor and understated thing when the Sixers signed Kelly Oubre and the little history behind that between him and James Harden. I'm not gonna speak on it. You guys can look it up and find out about it. So that was a whole other thing that popped up. So yeah, I have to see it. Like I saw that you retweeted about how the sports books basically are saying that the Clippers are favored to win the title now, which is
insane.
Insane.
Especially the way the Nuggets have looked. That's insane. We'll get to that later. That's insane. So when I did the reaction video, I asked people to comment and that I was going to use their comments for this episode. We actually got a few comments, so I'm going to read one. Okay. One is from KP Was Right, and he said, the Clippers lost their depth that could save Kawhi and PG from getting injured. I don't know how that can save them from getting injured. That I think what he's saying is that if they do get injured, you have the depth to replace them, which is basically what you were just saying, in a way. But
or is he saying that because if they had more depth, like the stars wouldn't play as much? I don't. Maybe
that could be it. But my response to that, like what I just said though, is Marcus Morris. He didn't play. Mm-hmm. Batum barely played, and Robert Covington. Like there are games where he didn't play. Like what depth really? And then you get back PJ Tucker. Let's not forget that PJ Tucker is a part of this deal.
Yep.
Out of Covington, Batum, Morris, and Tucker, I think I would rather have PJ Tucker out of all four of those players right now.
I was surprised. Batum was in it though. Like
because he can spread the floor, he can shoot, and they seem to like him there in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Ty Lue seems to like him.
Like, because he's been a good fit for that team. Like he's hit some big shots for him also. Like, so I was surprised. But like you said, PJ Tucker's underrated piece, and then like if he can be a little bit more consistent on offense, knocking down that corner three, that kind of seems to have faded away. Since he's been on Philly. But if he does that and he keeps playing that physical defense, it's a plus. It's a plus for the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just got it for the defensive purposes. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there's games. I mean, I just saw a clip on TikTok today, PJ Tucker saying how in the 2021 NBA Finals, Game 6, he took one shot, and there's a very special mindset you have to have going into it, knowing that like this is my job. So I don't think PJ Tucker cares if he shoots or not. I mean, they're not expecting anything from him offensively. They just want him there as a body to guard, a LeBron, maybe like or a perimeter. He can guard anybody really.
KD,
just be physical with somebody. Yeah, KD. I mean, he can't guard Steph because Steph is going to drive him crazy. But like the bigger, more physical players. So that's what his job's going to be, and maybe hitting an occasional three. Another comment here is from @SoSincere, and
yes, sir.
A wise man with a great skin routine once told me that there's only one ball. And to me, that's the biggest problem with this team is there's one basketball. And not that everyone is a ball hog. That's not the case. I mean, I think PG plays well with others. I think Kawhi can play well with others. Russ can play well with others, and so can Harden. But how are you going to distribute these minutes? How are you going to distribute roles? How are you going to distribute usage? That is... I don't know. And like I said in my reaction video, like what kind of offense you're going to be running, because you're not going to be running a pick and roll offense. Maybe with Kawhi, right? Probably Kawhi can roll. Kawhi can pop. PG can pop. I don't know if he can roll. Zubac is not really a threat like that, where it's like, oh man, game changer, that Harden Zubac pick and
I
roll.
mean,
I mean,
it's
maybe,
okay.
yeah. So for me, it's like, all right, you're not going to go isolation heavy all the time. And if you do go isolation heavy, are you putting the ball in Harden's hands over Paul George's hands and Kawhi's hands? So to me, Ty Lue has to figure out some type of skeleton on offense that they can kind of run through where everyone's involved and it's maximize everybody's ability. But Russ's change is going to, Russell's role is going to change, and PG's and Kawhi's might as well, or Harden's going to walk into a situation where I don't think he might be too happy with his role. It's going to be very interesting. But like So Sincere said, there's one basketball and someone with a great skincare routine. I think he's talking about you. Told him that one time.
So yeah, running joke me and him have. But what up, Kofi? Yeah, like you made in your reaction video, you brought up the point about what offense are the Clippers going to run now, because we all
Yeah.
know that Harden thrives in the pick and roll offense when he has a big man that can set a screen.
Yeah.
And he's surrounded by shooters. It's on record, MVP season, all of that. Now are the other players comfortable just standing around and watching
Yeah.
Harden
And
play?
do you want the other player? Do you want to waste? I don't say waste, but do you want possessions where Kawhi doesn't touch the ball or Paul George doesn't touch the ball and they're not in rhythm? Like, is that really how you're going to maximize this offense? I don't know. I don't think it's the smartest thing to do, but we'll see.
We'll see. I don't like the other point you also made was that if Ty Lue can figure it out, like, props to him, because it's a lot of chefs in the kitchen, man.
Yes.
That's what it's a lot of chefs in the kitchen. Like, you have a lot of players that need the ball. Like, yes, they can play off the ball, but they work better with the ball in their hands. Like, PG works better when the ball in his hands. Kawhi obviously works better with the ball in his hands, mid post, all that. Like, James Harden obviously, like, he some reason refuses to catch and shoot threes. He did a better job of it this past season on the Sixers, but like, it's been a big thing of his. Like, he doesn't like to spot up and shoot, even though he's a really good shooter.
Let's quickly talk about this from the Sixers' point of view. You get rid of James Harden and PJ Tucker. You bring in players who I don't know if Covington, Batum, or Morris get playing time. Maybe they do. You get a young player in KJ Martin, and then you get draft assets, which I think is good for the future for sure. But for me, getting draft picks, getting something in 2028 doesn't really matter for me right now from a Sixers fan, because to me, the championship window is supposed to be open. I don't care about 2028. I don't care about future draft picks. If you have a team that wants to win the championship today, right? Like, so if like you're a Laker fan, if you're a Sixer fan, if you're a Celtic fan, if you're a Bucks fan, and you get like a 2028 pick in return, it's like, I don't fucking care. I don't care. So all this talk about like, oh, well, the Sixers got draft capital. Who fucking cares? They're trying to win a championship. They're not going to win a championship right now with the roster that's constructed. I love Maxey. I love Embiid, but right now they don't have the personnel to beat the Bucks. They don't have the personnel to beat the Celtics. And if any of that happens, they don't have the personnel to beat anybody who comes out the West, especially the Nuggets. So to me, it is a loss for the Sixers. I see a lot of people like, oh, the Sixers, man, the draft capital that they got. Please give me a break. I understand. Listen, I understand these contracts are coming off the books. You have Covington and Batum, and these contracts are coming off the books, so you have draft space for next year. I'm not draft space, cap space for next year, which is important. I understand that. But again, if you are a team that has a championship window that's open, I don't want to hear about next year. I don't, especially when there's rumors that like your superstar, your MVP, the MVP of the league might want out, because what is that going to do for you if he wants out, if he goes somewhere else next year? So yes, I understand in theory it's good. In theory, you're obtaining assets, and in theory, you're setting yourself up for the future. But the future is right now for the Sixers. We have trusted the process for years, and the process has failed. So for me, I don't like the trade necessarily, because I feel like it's kind of like hedging their bets and accepting that, hey, our window's closed right now.
I think they were stuck in an impossible situation. They had to make the trade because it just became a big distraction. Where like after every game, it was like, so what's Harden doing? Is Harden going to be playing? Oh, it's Harden working out. That gets annoying. It gets annoying to answer. And like, I know from my point of view, being a Nets fan and having seen a team like the Nets when they were dealing with distractions, it was like you could see wearing on the players as the season progressed. I think the point a lot of people have said also online is that this is supposed to be the move before the move.
Yeah.
I saw some of the names that were linked to them was like Zach LaVine,
Yeah, I saw that.
Pascal, OG, and Anunoby. And my whole thing was like, for example, if I'm the Bulls, right? Are you giving me Maxey if I'm giving you Zach LaVine?
I mean, you better. I would
Like,
expect something like that. Yeah.
you know what I'm
We'll
saying? 'Cause-
give you Covington, who we just got. He's
and
expiring deal. Unless the Bulls are in a complete rebuild after giving up Zach LaVine, which they might. They might just
they-
give up. They might throw in the towel and say this era of basketball is not working.
yeah,
They're not going to take. They're not going to take that.
which I'm like, okay, and then you're banking on these, like you said, these future draft picks. The one thing that happened with the first Harden trade, and again, perspective from a Nets fan, like they lost their draft capital.
Right.
They when they made the trade with the Nets, they lost a lot of their draft capital. So like people were saying they were able to recoup some of it with this trade. But I'm like you said, it's so far ahead, and then you get these players and pieces that might play, might not play. To the Sixers' credit, they have played really well. Like they could have beat the Bucks. I think that was the first game they played. Yeah, they could. It was a close game. They could be undefeated technically right now. They've played really well through the course of their three games.
Yeah.
So and Maxey Maxey just got
Maxi's
player of the
averaging
week.
30.
He averaging 30. He got player of the week. And then the Sixers front office was like, "Okay, cool, trade Harden, get rid of him."
Peace.
Maxey can handle being point A.
Yeah.
Point A, just do it. Let make the move.
Yeah.
Move. Yeah, I think when we talked about this when we did our Sixers preview for the season preview. This really comes down to is Embiid going to be happy? It's your MVP. Like, what is he thinking? How's he feeling about all this? Because it's been multiple years of like him having a 1B or a number 2, basically being like, okay, I'm out. I don't want to be here. I don't want to play. So and I know this is a thing Sixers fans are dreading. Like, if it gets to the point where Embiid asks us for a trade or wants out, it's the process is definitely a failure.
Yeah, I mean, it already is in my mind, if I'm being honest with you, because I don't know how they built a championship team from here.
Yeah.
To me, they had their best chance was that year that Kawhi hit that buzzer beater when they had Jimmy Butler, and then they had a decision to make that offseason between Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, and they chose the wrong guy. They chose, and I'm not even like trying to knock Tobias. Tobias Harris, I think, is a solid NBA player. He's had some good seasons in this league, but if they kept Jimmy Butler instead of Tobias Harris, we're talking about a team that, to me, at least would have gotten out of the second round at least one of these times.
Yeah.
Possibly made a finals, maybe have won a championship. That team was this close. They took a team that won the championship to literally the final shot of the series.
True.
They were really close. So to me, that was their best chance. I don't know how you reconstruct the roster to overtake the Celtics, to overtake the Bucks.
Yeah.
With this trade, now Harden's gone. I love Maxey. Maxey's one of my favorite players in the league, but I still think he's a little young. I still think he needs to be a little more seasoned in order for me to take him seriously enough where it's like, oh, he's a number 2 on an Eastern Conference Finals. Like, come on. Like, that's a lot of pressure on Maxey, and that's a lot of expectations for somebody who's just got the keys handed to him. I can't expect that from him.
Yeah.
So for me, the window's closed. The window is closed for the 76ers. It's closed. It's done.
What if hypothetically, what if they're able to swing a trade for like Pascal or an OG somehow, like, and still keep Embiid, still keep Maxey?
Then the window is back open.
Swinging back that window. I think that because that's the only guy.
It's not happening. It's not happening.
That's why it's a hypothetical. That's why it's such a It's such a big hypothetical. Like, that's the only. I don't really know any. I don't really, like you said, I don't really see a trade out there. And I know the whole thing about they're gonna have cap space. My whole thing is
for who?
That's what I always ask. When I'm like,
they're
like, oh, we're gonna have enough for 2 big slots, and I'm like, for
Giannis
who,
just signed an extension, and Embiid's one of the people who people are waiting for to be signed. LaVine, yay! Like, come on. I don't know.
You're not that big of a LaVine fan too.
I'm not a LaVine hater though.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah, there's a difference.
Yeah.
There's a difference. I'm indifferent on LaVine. I think he's talented.
Yeah.
But he's not someone who, if I'm building a championship roster, I'm like, gotta go get him. Let's end that right there. We got other things to talk about, like the Spurs somehow beating the Suns
Like the Spurs.
30 minutes ago. I
was
saw the
hype.
score. They were down by 20. Then Kwab and I were like, well, it's me after the Clippers Magic game. And I was like, let me just check the scores because we're going to do power rankings later in the week. And I was like, I'm trying to decide where I want to put the Suns. So I'm like, well, they'll probably win this game. And I was like, let me see if they win this game big, maybe I'll put them bigger. And then I checked the score and it's like a 7-point game.
Yeah.
I turn on the TV, it's a 4-point game. And the Spurs literally steal a game against the Pheonix Suns. I'm not going to sit here and break things down for you. But one thing Kwab and I have had conversations about and something that we talked about on the previous episode is Greg Popovich, listen to me.
Please.
We're begging you.
Come on.
Just play Trey Jones at point guard. Just do it.
Just do it.
It's obvious.
When you put him on the floor,
yeah,
it's a positive every time.
The numbers show it all. The
eye test shows it all. The numbers show it all. Why? What am I missing?
I love Jeremy Shohan. I like Shohan a lot, actually. I'm a fan of his game, but he's not a point guard. He's not. And this team plays so much better with Trey Jones at point. I understand that there's more to be desired from a scoring standpoint and all that. He's a point guard. The team plays better with him at point. Wemby needs a point guard like him. Wemby needs an offense to flow through him in a traditional way. Just make it happen. That's my analysis. That's all I'm gonna say.
Look,
that's it.
Shout out Ty Yeager. We had Ty.
Shout out to Ty. Yeah,
we had when we previewed the Spurs, and Ty made the point about Trey, also about Devin Vassell, about how well Devin Vassell has been playing, how good of a player he is, and he showed out this game, and he's been playing well throughout the season. But Ty on the timeline has made the point about Trey needs to play more. Yeah, so Spurs fans see it also.
Yeah, Ty posted something the other day that showed like the offensive rating and defensive rating with like the only player that was different was Shohan and Trey Jones, and it was just like they're way better off. Their rating, I wish I had it in front of me, but Ty posted it. Follow him on Twitter. He's a good follow for Spurs fans, and check out this season preview if you haven't already.
Please do. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So shout out to Ty there, but yeah, just play Trey.
Just play Trey. And the other thing, of course I'm gonna every time the Spurs are on, I want to watch because I want to see Wemby. At some point, please pass it to the tall guy that's in the paint and that's open. There's a couple of times where I'm just like,
you can't miss him.
I'm like, maybe it's my perspective.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, nah, he's too tall for you to miss him, bro. Yeah. Like, why?
Can't miss him.
You can't
miss him.
Can't miss him. But hey, great win for a young team. Like I tweeted out, they're young, they're very fun to watch, and it's not just because of Wemby. They have a lot of like fun players.
No, you're right about that.
Just play Trey.
Thank God they're fun to watch because ESPN and TNT is going to have Wemby on like every.
Oh my gosh! Week. Yeah, facts.
I don't know how many national televised games. When I saw it, I was like, God, the Spurs. I just hope the Spurs are entertaining this year, and they've been so far.
They've been so far. So like they have a lot of great.
So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at the nationally televised games right now. I'm not.
Just play Trey. Maybe find another point guard too, just so you can play Trey, and then you can have a backup point guard or another. Right. Just please, it's getting ridiculous.
Let's close this show going through some headlines. All right, Kwab, real or fake news. Headline number 1, the Lakers might regret giving Austin Reaves the bag. Real or fake news?
Fake news.
Ooh.
Fake news. I think that Laker fans are just are always quick to like, it's been 3 games? Like, yo, chill out. 4 games? Relax. Is it 4 games? Is it 4 games? Oh, no. I was wrong. There's 4. Who they play? Magic. Won the Magic game, barely. Beat the Suns.
Yep.
A depleted Suns team. Lost to the Nuggets.
Yep.
And what am I missing? What game am I missing?
Kings.
Oh, yeah, Sacramento. I went to overtime. But that's because Sacramento is like one of the best teams in the league.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that next episode.
We're going to do our power rankings. Yeah, and I fight for Sacramento again, people.
We're going to be talking about a lot of teams about it. Just sidebar, like I want to talk Thunder, I want to talk Kings, I want to talk Hawks. There's a lot we'll get to on Thursday. Yeah. We just don't have the time for today. Yeah. But Austin Reaves, his stats right now, 10 points per game, 2.5 assists per game. He's shooting 25% from 3-point range, and he's shooting 33.3% from the field. a lot of Laker fans. So one of my favorite things to do is to go on Laker Spaces when they
Spaces,
lose.
baby. Spaces are
Oh
it's
my,
the best.
it's the
It's the best.
listen.
It's the best. One of the best shows on
It's
TV.
listen. There's Bill Burr,
Yeah, so
BoJack Horseman, Laker Spaces.
Laker Spaces, man.
That's
That's so entertaining. It shouldn't be this entertaining.
oh
And
my
I
god.
think the bet it's only so entertaining because I'm not a fan of the team like that. I
Yeah,
don't
I
have
don't
such
care
a
about the Lakers.
yeah, I
And
don't have such a
honestly,
vested interest.
I don't even like get joy of seeing Laker fans miserable. It's not me like, ha ha, Laker fans. It's just the passion
The
and the
passion
absolute delusion and the frustration from a
and
fan base
the
that has been
anger.
more successful than any fan base in the league. It's like try being a Knick fan, buddy.
No,
Try being a Knick fan.
so far,
Then be angry.
it's been I've seen that they shouldn't have signed AR.
Yeah.
Cam Reddish is going to be out the league in 2 games.
Well, he might be.
Gabe Vincent is basically
Okay,
Kendrick Nunn 2.0. Um,
Bro, Gabe Vincent is shooting 7% from 3.
I don't know what it is.
He hit his first 3 of the year.
Let's
in the fourth.
go. It's only like give it some time.
Nah,
Give
heat
it
culture,
some
bro.
time.
It's
But
heat culture.
also,
He left heat culture.
yeah, he left heat culture. You see what happens when you leave heat culture, people. Now, give some. But also, I was gonna say during the Sacramento game when he fouled like Fox late, I was so
Yeah.
confused. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? But there's been a lot of positive aspects when he plays. He's been very tough on defense.
Yeah.
For his size, he finishes inside very well. It's just the 3-pointers haven't been falling, and that's just not him. That's for Austin's shot hasn't been falling either.
D'Angelo, awesome preseason, not so good.
It's just the shots have been full, but they've been creating like I feel like they've been doing a good job creating open shots for a lot of these players.
Yeah, but they're just missing
gonna
the shots.
fall.
They're missing
They're gonna
the
end up
shots.
falling.
They're not missing their open shots. Rory Hachimura's not getting playing time, which is weird, by the way. So there's a lot of rotation grievances in these spaces as well. They're not a team that can really beat you. Like, there's not someone I can give the ball to. Maybe LeBron, but there's not someone who can like
And just
pull up. What? Like, you know what I mean? They don't have like that game. They don't have that mid-range game. They don't have like that in-between game. They don't have that like off the dribble. Like Austin kind of showed that last year.
Yeah.
And I think they're kind of relying on that. And D'Angelo can do it every once in a while, but they don't really have anyone who I can really depend on to do that. They're an interesting team because if they're not hitting their open threes, I don't know how they're going to be good this year. And I think their backcourt has been a huge problem. Max Christie isn't getting minutes like
At all.
a lot of Laker fans want him to get.
Christian Wood has been playing really well for them.
Yeah,
though,
Christian's
defensively.
Yeah.
Also, that's one thing he's always gotten like knocked for. But he played like he was one of the people that really actually guarded KD well in the Suns game, and he's been playing well for them. People expected them to come out the gates and like blow out the Nuggets because of all like they were like all the trash talk we've been hearing.
Yeah,
and it didn't happen. Nuggets were play like champions, and they struggled against the Kings, which is a team that just are younger and just run a lot. But the one thing with the Lakers, even last year after the trade, was that they don't really blow out teams. You know what I'm saying? Like every game always feels close.
Yeah.
Like when win or lose, it just feels like they don't make there's not a lot of separation in the games. I don't know why that doesn't happen, but I just feel like Laker fans just need to relax a little bit. If this was like if you guys are having the same issues and it's getting like in by like in January, February, maybe you need to ring the alarm. But it's like it's been 4 games.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's been 4 games, so I'm going to say fake news on this. I don't think they regret giving Austin Reaves the bag because to me, Austin Reaves, he has a knack for the game. I think you can tell the IQ is there. I think he'll figure it out. I do think there's a lot of pressure. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, the new big 3 with the Lakers, Austin Reaves is the 3rd guy, and it's like, all right, relax a little bit. You know, a lot of people have crowned this man, you know, to be a part of a big 3. I mean, even on First Things First, I think Nick Wright or someone said, I don't want to say it's Nick, it might not have been Nick Wright, but it was one of the Fox Sports personalities that were just basically like, I'd rather have Austin Reaves as my 3 than Bradley Beal. It's like, that's...
I mean,
I get in the context what you were saying was basically just like, yeah, because of how he fits the team, it's not so much better than him, but that's still like
you're wild. You're wild.
a statement. Yeah.
You're wild. You're tweaking.
I'm gonna say fake news. I'm gonna say fake news. All right, headline number 2: Steph Curry is the early season favorite for the MVP. Bob, I don't know if you've watched any Warriors games this year. I assume you have. I mean, they've been all over national TV. But just some stats right here. Steph Curry's averaging 33.5 points per game, 4 assists a game. But check this out: 55.8% field goal percentage as a guard, which is insane. 47% from three, an effective field goal percentage of 71.4.
Damn.
This is insane.
I mean, it's Curry though. Like
I know it's Steph, but it's like
it's are we really shocked? Like, are we that shocked?
I'm not shocked. Here's what else. I'm a bit surprised because to me, as you know, I said the Warriors are fugazi to win the championship. I did have them ranked pretty high to start the season as far as the teams were concerned. And to me, I would think, well, if you were to tell me, well, the Warriors are going to win the championship this year, how is that going to happen? For me to be like, well, Steph had to turn back the clock in 2016, like those type of seasons. Clay would have to be healthy, Dre. But from a Steph Curry standpoint, he would have to turn back the clock. Well, the motherfucker has to turn back the clock. You know? Like he's played and it's 4 games. So he's played unbelievable, bro. I watched the Pelicans Warriors game thinking, oh, this is a back to back. Like, you know, he's in his mid-30s now. He might not have the legs. No,
He has the legs.
40.
He has the legs. He has
Wild,
the
bro.
man.
So I know it's 4 games. I know it's stupid and dumb to talk about early season favorite for MVP, but I'm gonna say this is real. I don't think this is fake news. I think if I were to vote today for the first 4 or 5 games of the season, the Warriors sitting at 3-1. I know the Nuggets are undefeated. I know the Mavs are undefeated, but just the way how impressive he's been, the shot making that he's been able to display the first 4, it's unreal, dude. So I would have him probably as my MVP right now.
Yeah, you could justify giving him the MVP. It's Steph, man. It's like, look, we had that discussion the last episode about the Clippers and the Warriors, and we use the analogy of like people different names or of whatever.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is like, when the point I was trying to make when it comes to the Warriors is like, it's old reliable. The man's consistent. His shooting is never going to go away. Like, that's the one skill he has that's never going to go away. And was it even last year, even when they were struggling, before he got hurt, he was having like an MVP type season, and then he went down. Like, he always starts off the year strong, from what I remember. Like, he started the year off strong, was having an MVP like type season, and then he got a little bit dinged up. Yeah, this doesn't shock me. Man's Curry, man. Like, it's
like, of course he's gonna, yeah. It's like if he goes for 65 tomorrow, like, am I really gonna be here just to be like, oh, can't believe this happened?
So, man, he's so inspirational. He's so inspirational. Like,
yeah.
look at Curry, so inspirational.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's what he does, bro. So it's like, it doesn't surprise me. Like, now, if they, because of the team and like the question marks we have about the team, might they hit some speed bumps along the way? Yes, it's very possible.
Yeah.
But the team goes as he goes.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I could see him being on the top MVP candidate moving forward. So I'll go with real news.
Let's move on to the last headline. Headline number 3: the Denver Nuggets are a mile high above the rest of the league. You like that, right?
Yes, yeah, that's nice. Nice bars.
Bars.
What
you know about that? Real or fake news, Kwab?
Oh, that's real news, man. It's Nuggets. I think we both had them as number 1 team coming into the season, and we were right. So hey, we did it, man. We did.
I will say this: a mile high is a big thing to say, because a mile high kind of just insinuates that they're far and above the best team in the league. So I'm going to say this is more real than fake. Okay. But I do think the Celtics are kind of close. I've liked what I've seen from the Celtics. Granted, they just played the Washington Wizards in the most glorified pickup game I've ever seen in my life.
All right.
But they have beaten the Heat and they have beaten the Knicks. They've beaten 2 Eastern Conference foes pretty handily, but they were the better team clearly in both games. But the Nuggets, man, just the cohesion and the chemistry. There is not a single team in the NBA that just fits so seamlessly together. And I don't know how. It's early, but I don't know how you can watch that and then think to yourself, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make the Clippers the odds-on favorite to win the NBA championship after they acquire a man who's quit on his 3 previous teams.
Okay, I'm not even gonna talk about. I'm not talking about the quitting. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to play devil's advocate and see if I can justify that at all.
The Clippers?
The Clippers, like,
No justification. Don't even.
there really is no justification.
none.
Okay,
There's
what
none.
was the one thing I'll say? Okay, the one thing, and by the way, I don't believe this. I'm just disclaimer. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Right.
The one thing always people make about beating the Nuggets. One thing they always say, put Jokic in the pick and roll.
Yes.
You pick up James Harden, and what does he do best?
Yeah, but like, who are you gonna? I get what you're saying. That makes sense to me.
Do I believe what I'm saying? No. I'm trying to understand why they.
And for the
Is it
record,
just for
Jokic
the
was actually pretty
names?
decent defensively in the playoffs last year when it mattered.
Yeah, but it's like it's not. It's to me. I always say this: NBA trades, right? When they happen, it's not a video game. It's not 2K. It's not plug and play. A lot of
Right.
stuff has to go right for it to go right.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff has to go right for you to like make the playoffs, to win in the playoffs, and to win a championship.
Right.
When you have a team like the Nuggets that are just constructed what feels like perfectly with a perfect starting 5, bench players that know their role, an offense that's predicated on movement and passing and shooting, like they seem to check all the boxes that you'd want in a winning team. It's hard for me to be like, well, the team that's kind of like that's always been disappointing every time the playoffs roll around. We just added another player, the player that's always disappointing every time the playoffs roll around. That's the team that's gonna win.
They're better now.
Now it could happen. I'm not saying it can't happen because whatever, like it could work out, but it's just, to me, it's so weird. Like you really putting them above the Nuggets right now. And even like you said, even above the Celtics, because the Celtics have looked good, regardless of who they play. They've just defensively they've looked good, offensively they've looked good. So, and when you look at a team like the Celtics, the pieces fit. It's made more sense. Now, I don't know how that's going to look. We don't know how it's going to look with the Clippers. It's so like saying they're above people. Like I still don't understand. I don't understand how the sportsbook are like, you're going to be over the Nuggets. That's crazy to me.
That is wild. That is so wild to me. If you are a gambler, if you want to take a future bet, take it right now for the Nuggets because this is the best price you're ever going to get it. But that's going to do it for today's show. Kwab and I will be back on Thursday night after the games, which means that you will get the episode Friday morning. So stay tuned for a Friday morning podcast episode of The Dime. We'll be giving you a new version of our top 10 teams. I'm sure there are going to be a lot of teams that were not on there that are going to be on there now. Some teams might move up, like the Kings.
Thank you. Give it to me. Like that beam.
We'll see. A lot can happen. De'Aaron Fox is out, so we'll see.
Like the beam.
But we'll see. But yeah, make sure you follow all of our social media pages at The Dime NBA. That's TikTok. That's Instagram. That's also YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Leave a comment. We like to show our comments, as you saw in the first segment. We like to show our comments and talk to you. So please do so. I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez score. I'm Josh. You know what? I don't know how I always mess up my name. It's your name.
It's your name.
Freaking crazy.
Your name is your name.
I'm Josh Rodriguez at Josh_Rodriguez_. He's Kwab at Kwab, aka Yes. We'll see you in a few days for another episode of The Dime.